Right, guys, shall we start? Right, now we were talking about the central bank. Now we are at the last part of the central bank lesson to talk about the services provided by the central bank to the businessman, or how central bank make the daily functions of the businesses easier. That is none other than providing payment and settlement systems. In order to have a smooth transaction of cash or money throughout the economy, it's really important that you have a good transaction and settlement system in order to transfer money to someone's account, to receive money, to deposit checks, to issue a check to somebody, to withdraw money from your own bank account, right? To use online banks. And today with the globalization, that is not being limited to nationally or internally. You as an exporter or an importer, you will be doing transaction with outside the country as well. So in that case, having a proper payment and settlement system, it's really important for the businesses. For that, there are a couple of services provided by central bank. The first one that we discussed, which is the SLIP system. That is for the internal transaction within the country. Sri Lanka Interbank Payment Settlement System. That is conducted or operated by the Lanka Clear Private Limited. That's jointly owned by central bank and other commercial banks. They have a joint ownership. Why? Because the service is not just for the central bank. The service will be obtained by other banks as well, right? To deposit the checks and do the check realization. Right, I think that part will be clear. So there are two activities, the two functions that they will be doing: calculating the net balances, and I showed you how they calculate the net balances, and communicate that net balances to the bank so they can do the required settlements. So I hope you are very clear with the first payment settlement system, which is SLIPs. And also they do some transaction using a brand name called Lanka Pay. I think one of key back right? Lanka Clear Private Limited, SLIP system operated by Lanka Clear Private Limited under the brand name of Lanka Pay. Right? So those are the main things, and also the main functions: calculating the net balances of each bank and communicating those net balances to the central bank and to the respective banks. Right, now with that, we are moving to our second payment settlement system that is not gonna limited to our country. The globally we use, they call SWIFT system. The second one is the SWIFT system. The SWIFT code then international money transfer you need to have a SWIFT code. The Lanka Mama Ceylon Bank Ceylon Bank Sampath Bank yes, I have heard about that. Right? Now when you're going, now let's say you live in UK, you live in London, you live in Australia, and then you say, I want to send some money to HNB Bank, to Sampath Bank, to commercial. What is Sampath? I haven't heard about. Is that a food item? Likewise, it is all the worldwide banks and financial institutions. I would think Australia bank and maybe there are worldwide banks and financial institutions godak තියෙනවා. සමහර ලංකාවේ ඇතුළේ තියෙනවත් අපි සමහරට දන්නේ නැහැ නේද? So then what about the others? So likewise, when you want to do the transaction across the global, not just limited to your country, you need to have a SWIFT code. So when you know the SWIFT code of that particular bank, without any doubt, it doesn't matter where you live, it doesn't matter to which place that you want to transfer your money, as far as that particular bank or financial institution is having a SWIFT code, then you will be able to transfer the money. Now, there's a meaning for this, the concept of SWIFT. A society for worldwide interbank financial telecommunication. Society for worldwide interbank. Now, previously we were talking about SLIP, Sri Lanka Interbank. Now, this is not going to limit it to Sri Lanka. Society for Worldwide Interbank. Telecommunication, financial telecommunication. Financial telecommunication. Right, guys, you don't have to write down. Listen well, I'll give time to write. So the word is SWIFT. So that represents SWIFT. So every bank is having a SWIFT code. Now, actually, they need to be a member of the SWIFT society, then they'll be given a code. So then for the international transaction, now for example, let's say you guys live in Australia and you want to help Sri Lanka at this moment and you want to send some dollars to the country. So then you will be having a bank account, or you'll be going to the bank in Australia, and then you want, say, your family members having a bank account in a commercial bank. So then you want to send some money to them as a help to your family as well as to the country. That is, the kind of things at this moment the Sri Lankans who live in abroad, they are doing, sending some money transfers, dollars, euros, the foreign exchange remittance to the country, right? So then they will be asking you, okay, tell me the country and also the SWIFT code of that particular bank. So then it's not much difficult to find the SWIFT code. You can call the bank and get the SWIFT code. And today's you don't need to call. You can just Google. You can internet and you can search the SWIFT code, and I'll show you. You can just type the SWIFT code of commercial bank, SWIFT code of Sampak Bank. So likewise, you need to. You can Google it and just get that code. So once you provide that code, then from that code, they will be identify the particular bank. So then it's a unique code to each bank. Well, so as far as you know the bank account and the bank name and the SWIFT code, you will be able to do the international transfers. Right now, talking about the SWIFT. Now, recently, there's the war between Ukraine and Russia. For some of the Russian banks, right? Because the SWIFT system belongs to USA, so they ban Russian banks from this SWIFT system. Basically, they removed Russian banks from the SWIFT code system. So they have to find an alternative way to send the money. So likewise, you can see this is a system which is operating across the globe. Well, so it's not a difficult thing to get the SWIFT code, and let's see how we can get it. You can just go to the Google, right? So then you have to just Google by typing the relevant banks SWIFT code, and let's try to do this. Right now, let's say if you want to know the SWIFT code of Bank of Ceylon, so just type SWIFT code of Bank of Ceylon, Sri Lanka. Here you can see the BCE LKLX002 is the SWIFT code for the Bank of Ceylon. So likewise, you can search SWIFT code of Sampak Bank. It's a unique code for each bank. So the SWIFT code is, it's always with 8 characteristics, which is BSAMLKLX. Likewise, SWIFT code of Ceylon Bank. You can see the 8 characteristics SCYBLKLX. And even if you go to the website's bank, And also you can see that when you go to the official website of the particular bank, එතනත් ඔයාලට පුළුවන් SWIFT code එක මේ විදිහට දාලා තියෙනවා. Contact us, comes under the contact us. You can see their postal address, Ceylon Towers, number 80 Gold Road, Colombo 3. Their email address, their 24 contact center. And also you can see their SWIFT code, the same one as you see here, right? So you can see under their website as well. And also you can check, for example, the SWIFT code of Sampath Bank. You can get it from their official website. If you, do not trust this Google search, you can go to the Sampath Bank website, their corporate profile, as you can see. Yeah. So now let's say someone is asking for you to send some money. They are living abroad, and then you need to send them the SWIFT code. Bank SWIFT code search කරලා ඒ රටේ ඉන්න කෙනාට යවන්න මෙන්න මේක තමයි. Definitely they will be asking you the SWIFT code, so you can just get it by just googling. So that's about it. And if you further go to the SWIFT, what is SWIFT? So you can go to the swiftcodes.com. The swiftcodes.com, as you can see, you can get all the SWIFT codes here. This website as well. You select the country and you select the bank. So you can see all the banks appear in Sri Lanka, right? All the Sri Lankan banks. If you check even the Ceylon Bank, and also you can select the city as well, Colombo. SWIFT code, you can see the SWIFT code, right? Likewise. So you can use this website as well. Well, so that's about it, and let's see whether I could give you some idea about the SWIFT code by using a video as well. I might remember the concept of SWIFT code.
SWIFT, also called society.
SWIFT, also called Society for Worldwide Interbank Financial Telecommunications, is a message network which is used by financial organizations such as banks and money brokers to communicate with each other using predefined messages and instructions. Put it simple, SWIFT is just working like a social network in which the users are all financial institutions. Each user will have a unique SWIFT ID, and they can securely send and receive information between each other for their daily business, such as money transfer, etc. This will enable the payee to transfer money to an account located in another bank in other countries. To uniquely identify a financial institution, SWIFT assigns every financial organization a unique code which usually has 8 or 11 characters. As for the 11-character SWIFT code, the first 8 characters will be the same as the 8-character SWIFT code, and the last 3 codes are usually used to identify individual branches. In the classical 8-character SWIFT code, the first 4 characters are the institute code, which is used to identify the financial institution. The next 2 characters indicate the country code, and the last 2 characters represent the location or city code. Let's take a look at this example about how the SWIFT system works during a transaction. Let's assume that Alice wants to transfer $100 from her US bank account to Bob's bank account in Australia. A simple scenario is that the two banks both have a commercial account with each other, which means they do have an established relationship. If that is the case, Alice's bank will send a SWIFT message or payment instructions to Patrick's bank within a few minutes. Then Alice's bank will deduct $100 from her account, and Bob's bank will credit $100 in its commercial account. The last step is to credit $100 to Bob's personal account, minus any fees charged for the transfer. A complex scenario is that both banks do not have a commercial bank account with each other. If that is the case, they need to find a third bank which both banks have commercial accounts with. This third bank will act as the bank in the middle to handle the transaction, and the step will be like the following. Alice's bank will deduct $100 from her personal bank. Alice's bank will notify the bank in the middle to debit their commercial account by $100 and credit the commercial account of Bob's bank for the same amount. Bob's bank will then credit the money to Bob's personal account. In this scenario, since there are more steps involved in the whole process, more fees might be charged and more processing time will be needed than the previous simple scenario. A more complex scenario is that more different currencies are involved during the transaction. As mentioned in the previous example, some extra time and fee might be needed for the currency exchange. Since SWIFT can be considered a social network which is owned by its members, a fixed income of SWIFT is coming from all these members paying a one-time joining fee and annual charges each year. Also, for each message sent in the SWIFT network, the sender will be paying a small fee for it. Usually different financial organizations will be in different charge tiers based on the volumes of messages they will be sending in a year. Also, some extra services provided by SWIFT such as business intelligence, reference data, and compliance services can also provide revenue for this network. Thanks for watching. If you like the video,
Right, yes. So as you saw that, yes, there will be a fee that they will be charging, right? And so most cases that represent, some meaning is there, right? Now, for example, if you take the SWIFT code of Ceylon Bank, it is SEY, and they do have SEV by SEYB, then LKLX, guys. So then obviously make a first four characteristics usually represent the bank, which is Ceylon Bank. Can short color SEYB tena LK country ගොඩක් වෙලාට අපා මෙතනදී මොනාරි ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ branch code or a city code වෙන්න පුළුවන්. අපි Sampath ගත්තත් Sampath Bank also they have like BSA MLN LKLX, I think, which is the Bank of Sampath, right? Bank of Sampath, then Lanka, Sri Lanka. So likewise, there's a meaning. I think, but somehow that will be operated because we need to get the membership. So respective bank will get the membership, and then they will be doing the transaction. And for those transactions, obviously now when you are sending money, now let's say you live in Australia and you're sending money, obviously the bank will charge you as a transfer fee. So that in Sri Lanka, that service provided by central bank to other banks. Right now, let's complete the note. I think let's check whether is there anything for you to complete. SWIFT code. Yes, I think you need to just write the content here. Shall I please write that? Number 2. Six. And let me shout the full name. Shall we write this in the provided space? Universal Interbank Financial Electronic Communication Network. ඉතින් ඒක තමයි අපි කියන්නේ SIFT කියලා, Society for Worldwide Interbank Financial Telecommunication, the transfers between international banks. So this is a network that embraces the financial markets across the world based on the latest technologies. So please highlight international money transfer between banks are facilitated through this system. Right, so if I hope you're done with that, now let's move to our next payment settlement system, which is RTGS. RTGS. So what does it mean by RTGS? Is it's real-time gross settlement system. Real-time gross settlement. Guys, what do you mean by real-time? What do you mean by real-time? Now, when you say real-time, it's real time, right? It's live. It's update. It's update as far as you send the money. Now, previously, now for example, for some time back, payments, the transaction that you do, there's always a time delay to update in their systems. The example අපි දෙට දැන් අද ඔයා කෙනෙක්ට money transfer කරලා ඊළඟ තත්පරේදී ඊළඟ කෙනාට ඒක withdraw කරන්න පුළුවන්. මොකද ඒක එයාගේ account එක update වෙනවා. හැබැයි මීට අවුරුදු 20 30කට කලින් එහෙම නෙමෙයි. දැන් අපි අද cash deposit කරොත් එයාගේ account එක update වෙන්නේ ඊළඟ දවසේ. Or maybe take some days, some time. But now it's not like that. It's when you transfer money, when you deposit money, or when you withdraw, it will automatically update. So it will live update. So it's real-time system. Now this is when you come to the high transaction. එක සාමාන්‍ය individuals එක අපි personally use කරන්නේ නැහැ. මේක ගොඩක් interbank settlement system එකක්. Banks අතර. Right? Banks අතර වෙන settlement system එකක්. For example, a bank also will face some liquid issues. දැන් banks වලට සල්ලි නැති වෙන අවස්ථා තියෙන්න පුළුවන් නේ. හරි bank එකට සල්ලි නැත්නම් bank එකට බැහැනේ customer කෙනෙක්ගෙන් ඉල්ලන්න. Right? හරි. එතකොට bank එකක් තවත් bank එකකින් තමයි loan එකක් ගන්න. දැන් අපි හිතමු HNB bank, so Ceylon bank. So Ceylon bank is having a liquid issue. ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ සල්ලි මදි ප්‍රමාණයක්. So they want to take a loan from HNB. So then, guys, so here what happened? So then HNB will send. Now, when a bank obtain a loan, it's not like 100,000, 1 million, or 5 million. So it's with a high capacity. So maybe like millions. Let's say 250 million. So I'm just saying. So then HNB will transfer. Now, for this particular transaction, one thing. It's a higher value, and this need to be updated real time because why? So they are in an urgent situation. So if this system takes 2-3 hours or maybe couple of days to actually realize the transferred money, it is not an effective system. Okay, they are in a hurry. In an emergency situation, having a liquid issue, so then they need to quickly get the money. අනිත් එක මේ වගේ ප්‍රමාණයක් ට්‍රාන්ස්ෆර් කරන්න එකත් රිස්ක් එකක් සහ ඒකටත් කාලයක් යනවා. දැන් ඔයා හිතා යහිනම් 250 million cash වලින් ඒගොල්ලන් දෙන්න පුළුවන් කියලා ඒකත් රිස්ක් එකක් ට්‍රාන්ස්පෝර්ට් කරන්න සහ it will take time. So but the best method is to do a transfer. Real time gross settlement is for high value transaction. මේක තමයි ලංකාවේ තියෙන high value transaction එකම system එක. Make a ගොඩක් transactions වෙන්නේ interbank transaction and it's real time. So those are the set of things that you need to know when you come to the RTGS system, so which is facilitated by CBSL. Right, shall we write this, guys, please? Number 3, and the provided space, RTGS system, real time gross settlement. Now let's highlight a couple of facts. This is a computer system that has been set up using modern technology and standardized for the settlement of high value transfers among banks within Sri Lanka. Make a international නෙමෙයි. ඒ කියන්නේ මේකේ foreign banks අතර වෙන්නේ නැහැ. Interbanks within Sri Lanka. එහෙනම් high values interbanks within Sri Lanka. So please highlight. Without any time delay. That's what the meaning of real time, without any time delay. So this is important because settlements can be done in a very short time because the bank is in an urgent situation. There's an emergency situation to get the funds as far as much as possible. And this is the only national payment settlement system in the country for the high value transactions. So those are the set of points that you need to know about RTGS, real-time gross settlement system. Well, shall we move to our next point or the next payment settlement system, which is SSDS. අපි යන්න හදන්නේ SSDS එකට. Let's see what this is all about, the concept of SSDS. Hope you guys are done with this. Just remove the facts. Guys, we know about the government securities. මට දැන් examples කියන government securities වලට treasury bills, treasury bonds වගේ දේවල්. එහෙනම් මේවා deposit කරන්නත් මේවා settle කරන්නත් system එකක් තියෙනවා. Scriptless මොනවාද scriptless කියලා කියන්නේ? Scriptless securities depository system. What are the securities කියලා කියන්නේ? That is the government securities, treasury bills and bonds. Scriptless කියන්නේ මොනවාද? Paperless. මේවා එන්නේ electronic format එකකින්. So then scriptless or the paperless securities depository system. Now when you invest in treasury bills and treasury bonds, this is the system where you will be depositing our securities, right? And මේකත් එකම තව එකක් තියෙනවා. ඒක ඔයාගේ syllabus එකේ නැහැ, but I'll ask you to write. I'll give time to write. ඒක අපි කියනවා SSSS. මොනවාද එහෙනම්? Scriptless securities. Here it's deposit, here is settlement system. The combination of SSDS and SSS make it අපි කියනවා Lanka Secure System එක කියලා. මොනවාද? Lanka Secure. දැන් පොඩි ප්‍රශ්නයක් තියෙනවා. මොනවාද ප්‍රශ්නේ? ඔයාගේ syllabus එකේ මේක ගැන මොකුත් කියලා නැහැ. SSS. ඒ නිසා ඒගොල්ලෝ කියනවා SSDS කියන්නේ Lanka Secure එකට තියෙන තවත් නමක් කියලා. හැබැයි ඇත්ත කතාව තමයි Lanka Secure not just SSDS. So it is the SSDS plus SSS. එනිසා ආයේ point දෙකක් පොඩ්ඩක් මතක තියාගන්න. When it comes to the practical world, Lanka secure කියන මේ දෙකේම combination එක. Since in our syllabus they do not mention anything about this SS, ඒගොල්ලෝ කියනවා SSDS කියන්නේ මේක කියන. That point you have to make a note. I'll give that note as well. ඉතින් මෙතනදී වෙන්නේ government securities settle කරන්නත් ඒවා deposit කරන්නත් system එකක් තියෙනවා. මේක paperless තමයි operate වෙන්න, because it's really easy for you, because when you have the papers ඉතින් ඒවා නැති වෙන්න පුළුවන් නේද? but damage වෙන්න පුළුවන් සමහරව ඉන්නේ වෙන country එකක වෙන රටක වෙන තැනක. So then it doesn't matter the place you do the transaction, you will be able to operate. Otherwise you need to find those documents. And also you will be able to get the ownership of those securities at the same day, because why? It will be realized through the systems. Otherwise you will have to wait until you obtain the hard copies or the certificates. Now you don't have to do this. It will be all in an electronic system. So this is about the government securities. Well, right. අපි එකක් note එකක් දාගමු. So first come to your tube. Target tube එකට එන්න ඉස්සෙල්ලා ඒක ලියන්න fourth එක scriptless securities depository system. Can you please write the fourth one? Scriptless securities depository system. Fourth blank එක උඩවට ලියන්න පුළුවන්. Scriptless securities depository system. Now we'll come to the explanation of that. This is a system used to affect paperless transactions. Please highlight scriptless කියලා කියන්නේ paperless transaction in the buying and selling of securities. Another securities කියන්නේ government securities, treasury bills and bonds. So instead of the printed materials, instead of the printed certificates, the printed certificates එක electronic deal කරන්න බෑනේ. And also this is also known as Lanka Secure. Enisa eka hari, this is as per your syllabus. So this avoid the risk of the investor in the safe keeping and the selling of printed securities. මොකද risk එක අඩු වෙනවා. ආලඟ තියෙද්දි මේව නැති වෙන්න පුළුවන්, සොරකම් කරන්න පුළුවන්, damage වෙන්න පුළුවන්. ඉතින් මේ වගේ risk එකක් තියෙනවා. හරි, අපිට පුළුවන් ද මෙන්න මෙතනම පල්ලෙහාන් පොඩ්ඩක් දාගන්න. මෙන්න මේ කතාවක් චුට්ටක් පල්ලෙහාන් දාගන්න. මේ දෙක එකතු කිරීම ලංකා secure as per central bank. As per central bank. ආගේ syllabus එකේ මේ ගැන කියන්නේ නැහැ. In the syllabus it only says about SSDS. හැබැයි when it comes to the real world, ලංකා secure එක හැදිලා තියෙන්නේ මෙන්න මේ එකතේ මම මෙතන දානවා as per CBSL. I'll show you the CBSL website as well. නැත්නම් මම බලයි කොහොමද මේක ගත්තේ කියලා මම. As per your syllabus, Lanka Secure කියන්නේ SSDS. As per CBSL එක අතනම syllabus එකේ වෙන්න ඕන update එකක් ඒක වෙලා නැහැ. But as per CBSL, Lanka Secure කියන්නේ combination of both SSDS and SSS. Can you please write that? හරි දැන් අපි බලමු central bank website එකට ගිහිල්ලා මොනවාද ඒගොල්ලෝ මේ ගැන දාලා තියෙන details කියලා. Right. ඉතින් ඔයාලට පුළුවන් CBSL website එකට යන්න. ඒකේ ගියාට පස්සේ ඔයාලට පුළුවන් payment settlement system as you can see Lanka Secure නේද? ඉතින් ඒගොල්ලෝ කියන්නේ Lanka Secure කියන්නේ මේ දෙකේ එකතුව Scriptless Securities Settlement System and the Scriptless Securities Depository System. ඉතින් මේ ගැන further information ඉතින් ගොඩක් advanced දේවල් තියෙන අපිට අපේ level එකට එච්චරම අදාළ නැහැ. Namuth, you know, if interested, you can read the Lanka Secure System comprises of the Scriptless SSS and SSDS. So Lanka Secure facilitates the issue of government securities and central bank securities in an electronic or a scriptless or a paperless form, and the settlement of trade of such scriptless securities on a delivery versus payment basis. So accordingly, transactions are settled in the system. Transaction settle when the system again without using any printed copies. So Lanka Secure and the buying participant has sufficient funds in the settlement account. In the RT order advanced they were gonna able explain karna. But you can also refer, you can go to the CBS website, then you can go to the financial system, and the financial payment and settlement system comes under financial infrastructure. Right, so that's about it. And yeah, so then with that, guys, we are done with the payment and settlement system. But I think I need to explain you. Yes, another point, another settlement system, which is CITS. CITS. CITS අපි මේකට කියනවා this is something addition to our syllabus, but it's good to know. CITS. Shall we write this in our short notebook? CITS, the meaning of CITS is Check Imaging and Truncation System. Check Imaging and Truncation System. Truncation, right? Truncation system. ඉතින් මේක තමයි ගොඩක් checks වලට يعني මේක retail පැත්ත දැන් slips ශ්‍රී ලංකා interbank තියෙන banks අතරනේ මේක ගොඩක් retail පැත්ත ඒ කියන්නේ අපේ checks වගේ individual basis එකේ කරන transaction CITS checks imaging and truncation system. Shall we write, and I'll give you a short note on that. Shall we only write what I highlighted in color? Only the first sentence. The CBSL provides facilitates for the clearance of the retail payments, such as checks and bank drafts and offline fund transfers. So in 2002, CBSL authorized LCPL to provide check clearing facilities. LCPL කියලා කියන්නේ Lanka Clear Private Limited. LCPL කියන්නේ Lanka Clear Private Limited. Lanka Clear Private Limited. shall we add this point? Well, good. Now, guys, another point for you to remember. Qt එකේ අපි කතා කරන්නේ systems දෙකක් ගැන. එකක් තමයි RTGS and SSDS කියලා. මෙන්න මේ දෙක එකතු වුණාම අපි කියනවා Lanka Settle කියලා system එකක් හදනවා කියලා. Can you also have a short note on that as well? Right? Can you please have a short note? එහෙනම් RTGS system එකයි SSDS කියන system දෙක එකතු වෙලා අපි නමක් කියනවා Lanka Settle කියලා. දැන් ඉතින් වචන ගොඩක් තියෙනවා පටල ගන්න එපා. Lanka Secure, Lanka Clear, Lanka Settle, right? You need to have a clear understanding what is Lanka Secure, what is Lanka Clear, what is Lanka Settle. ඒ වගේම Lanka Pay කියලා දෙකක් තියෙනවා නේද? හරි. ඉතින් මේ විදිහට මේ ටික පටල ගන්න එපා. So have to have a good understanding. Well, right now with that, yes, we are done with the central bank lesson. Now we have to move forward with the banking sector. Now we're still in the banking sector. Two more organizations to be discussed. What's that? commercial banks නැත්නම් අපි කියන LCB licensed commercial banks and licensed specialized banks ගැන කතා කරන්න තියෙනවා. හරි මොනවද එන central bank lesson එකේ කතා කරේ the history of central bank, the objective, there are two objectives, the price stability and the stability of the financial system, and the functions of CBSL, main functions and agency functions. So we talk about a lot of main functions and agency function, and then how the CBSL contribute to the businesses in terms of providing payment and settlement system. I think ඔන්න ඔය ටික තමයි අපි කතා කරේ CBSL lesson එකේදී. Now, as you know, the banking sector we divide into three parts: CBSL, LCB, and LSB. So then let's start with the licensed commercial banks. Licensed commercial banks are new topic. Licensed commercial banks අපි කියනවා මේකට LCB කියලා. Licensed commercial banks. Right, so there are a couple of things for us to discuss when it comes to the licensed commercial banks. එහෙනම් අපිට කතා කරන්න තියෙනවා classification එකක්, ඒ වගේම intro, right? A classification and also the services provided by licensed commercial banks. Hari. Now coming to an intro. Why this known as license? ඉස්සෙල්ලා අපි එතනින් පටන් ගමු. ඇයි මේකට license කියලා කියන්නේ? So in order to operate a commercial bank, you need to get the license from the central bank. ඒක තමයි අපි ඒකට license කියලා කියන්නේ. හරි, ඒකට license. Then commercial bank, you know what's a commercial bank? The banks have the ability to operate current accounts or issue checks. Now, when it comes to the classification, guys, අපි licensed commercial banks අපිට mainly divide කරන්න පුළුවන්. National banks and local banks and international කියලා. Right? Local banks, international. Local banks අපිට ආපහු divide කරන්න පුළුවන්. Private sector and the state sector. Private sector and the state sector. Or else we can go with another classification, right? I'll come to this point. So then licensed commercial banks අපිට පුළුවන් බෙදන්න private sector bank, state sector. Private sector, state sector. So private අය බෙදන්න පුළුවන් local banks and international. Right. So then you can come up with the classification. අපි සාමාන්‍ය මෙන්න මේක තමයි classification එක consider කරන්නේ. නැත්නම් අපිට මේ විදිහට ගන්නත් පුළුවන් ප්‍රශ්නයක් නෑ. So licensed commercial banks, private sector, state sector. එහෙම නැත්නම් ඔයාලට this is as per your syllabus. නැත්නම් practically අපිට local banks, international කියන්නත් පුළුවන්. So when you come to local bank, private, state, අනිත් පැත්ත international banks. Now, as of today, guys, there are 24 licensed commercial banks in Sri Lanka. මේක කලින් තිබුණේ 25ක් කියලා. හැබැයි එක bank එකක් ලංකාවෙන් අයින් වෙලා ගියා, Indian bank එකක්. So now we have 24. I have provided you the list, 24 licensed commercial banks in Sri Lanka. So there are state sector banks, there are local and international banks. So let's go with the the list. And also you need to know the services provided. So mainly they do provide deposit related services and lending related services. So when you come to services, deposit related services and lending related services. So when you come to deposits, as you know, there are three types of deposits. When you come to the savings accounts, fixed deposits, the most importantly, current account. So when you come to lending, they are providing loans and bank draft. Right, so please come to the classification. Maybe the specify you can come up with something like this. Right. So this is as per your syllabus. This also we practice, practically. So 24 licensed commercial banks. Right. So can we have this in a short notebook? So here what we'll be studying comes under licensed commercial banks, introduction, classification, and the services. And then I have provided you those 24 lists, and let's try to, classify those banks. Right, so apart from that, there's now we know that there's a 24 list. අපි දන්නා මේක list එකේ 24ක් තියෙනවා කියලා. හැබැයි ඊට අමතරව අපි ගන්නවා මේ මෙතනින් banks 6ක් අපි ඒකට කියන SIBs කියලා systematically important bank. දැන් 24ක් තිබුණාට සමහර banks තියෙනවා එකම එක branch එකයි තියෙන්නේ ලංකාවට. කොළඹ තියෙන එක branch එකක් අපි ගත්තොත් ඔය City Bank, Indian Bank, so මේ වගේ banks කීපයක්. not much limited. එතකොට ප්‍රශ්නයක් නැහැ. හැබැයි there are 6 SIBs, systematically important banks. මෙන්න මේ 24න් 6ක් very important. මොකද it really matters for the economy. So those are the 2 state banks, BOC and People's Bank. And then you have in private sector, Sampath, Commercial, HNB and Ceylon. ඉතින් මේක තමයි අපි ගන්න systematically important bank. එහෙනම් list එකේ 24ක් තිබුණාට මේ 24න් 6ක් ඉතාම වැදගත්. ඒක තමයි කියන්නේ අපි systematically important bank, even though there's a list of 24. සමහර දැන් අපි list එක go through කරමු. සමහරව අදම වෙන්නේ නැති අහන්නේ. Right, so have the short note please in our book. So this is how we classify. This is another classification, 24 banks. So those are the systematically important bank. ඒ වගේම මේක ඔයාලට දා ගන්න පුළුවන්. There is a box, right? ඔයාගේ page number 22 වල තියෙනවා. ඒකට ඔයාලට දා ගන්න පුළුවන් මෙතන systematically important bank. Now let's come back to the tute and we'll highlight important points and we'll go through the list of commercial banks. Well, so moving to the banking sector, the banking sector in Sri Lanka comprises of the licensed commercial banks and the licensed specialized bank. Dominates the financial system and accounts for the highest share of total assets in the financial system. Then what we talk about those the financial assets, guys. Can you remember this the report extraction that I took from the central bank report? Yes. Now, as you refer this report, you can see this is the total assets in the financial system. The banking sector have now if we come up with the 2018 figures, so it will account for the 72.5%. So out of 100, it can move financial system එකේම 72.5 අයිති වෙන banking sector එකට. හැබැයි එතනොත් ඔයාලට පේනවා licensed commercial banks වලට more than 50% belongs to the licensed commercial banks as a percentage, 54.9, so almost like 55%. So you can see how important that is to the economy. ඉතින් මෙතනිනුත් banks හයක් critical වෙනවා, systematically important. So that's what it explains there. Right, so coming back to the point, so that's what the total assets. 72 point banking sector එකේ commercial banks වලට around like 55. Banks play a critical role within the Sri Lankan financial system as they are engaged in the provision of the liquidity to the entire economy, like providing loans and accepting the deposits. Banks also provide payment services, thereby facilitating all entities to carry out their financial transaction. Therefore, the soundness of the bank, here's the stability. Banks is not good for the economy. So that is why one of our objectives of central bank is to make sure the stability of the financial institutes or the financial system. So as it contributes towards maintaining confidence in the financial system, and any failure may have the potential to impact on activities of all other financial and non-financial entities. And finally, the economy. Licensed commercial banks. These are the financial institutions that maintain current accounts and other savings accounts with the ability of creating money. So these are known as licensed commercial banks due to the fact that they do operate under the license issued from the central bank, which I already explained. And මේවට license කියලා කියන්නේ ඒගොල්ලන්ට අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම license එකක් ගන්න ඕනේ CBSL එකේ. There are many licensed commercial banks registered. Yes, we'll be talking about. ඒක අපි mainly බෙදනවා state sector and private sector. Private sector further divide local banks. ඒ කියන්නේ ලංකාවේ දේශීය බැංකු සහ international කියලා අපි ආපහු divide කරනවා. So in terms of the asset base and the magnitude of the service provider, the licensed commercials are the single most important category Why we are saying it's the most important category? Because it will account for nearly 55% of the total assets of the financial system that, like I previously showed you. So licensed LCBs dominate the financial system. Yes, obviously it dominate. Okay, the more than 50%, more than half of the assets belong to the licensed commercial banks. So the LCBs dominate the financial system with the highest market share of the entire financial system's assets. Therefore, the health of Sri Lankan financial system depends to a large extent on the soundness of the LCBs, primarily the performance of the financial strength. Right, make it අපි ගන්න මම කර 6 largest banks. So shall we write those 6 banks? This provided space, as you can see, 2 state banks, BOC Peoples and Sampath Commercial, HNB and Ceylon, right? And you might wonder whether there's no NSB bank. NSB also one of a key bank, but NSB can a license specialized bank එකක් එනිසා ඒක මෙතන ගන්න බෑ. So you guys need to write the 6 banks. හරි. මෙන්න අපි එනවා the list එකට, the full list of commercial banks in Sri Lanka. ඉතින් මේක I have extracted as the 5th April. හැබැයි මේක වෙනසක් නැහැ. Even I checked the today's website. එනවා අපිට ගන්න පුළුවන්. Even like මෙතන today date එක දාලා as at 12th July මේක වෙනසක් නැහැ, right? 12th July. Now let me show you how you can get those. You can go to the financial Sri Lanka Central Bank website. So cbsl.gov.lk. Then you can pick the financial system. So comes under financial system, you have the banking sector. Just click on that. So once you click banking sector, it will appear the list of licensed commercial banks and list of licensed specialized. So you're gonna click the list of LCBs. So once you click that, you can see the list contains 24 banks. Right, ඉතින් මේ list එක තමයි මම ඔයාගේ tube එකට දාලා තියෙන්නේ. Now let's see that. Now let's try to classify. හරි. Amana Bank. Guys, Amana Bank කියන්නේ මේක private sector bank එකක්. So in front of that, please write private bank එකක්, local private bank. Bank of Ceylon, without any doubt, it's a state sector bank. So in front of that, please write state sector. State sector, make a private and local. With private, අපිට ආපහු පුළුවන් කොටස් දෙකක් බෙදන්න. So private within brackets, local. Bank of China, yes, Bank of China. That now when you say BOC, you have to be careful, right? Bank of Ceylon, the Bank of China. Guys, Bank of China, take a private and like an international bank. International. You can write international. Cargill's Bank, local, private. Citibank, and Citibank and USA Bank. You make an international bank. Can write in front of that. Commercial bank, yes, it's a local bank. It's a private sector local bank. Deutsche Bank, right? Deutsche Bank, guys, it's a German bank to make up international. DFCC, private sector local bank. Habib. Habib cute one other guys. What do you mean by Habib? Right? So you might have heard, some songs Arabic songs Habib. Oh, Habib can your loved one your partner, your spouse කියන meaning එක. So Habib Bank කියන්නේ Pakistani bank එකක්. ඒතර මේක international. HNB international, local, private sector local bank. Indian Bank, international. Indian Overseas also international. MCB Bank, merchant guys, MCB Bank, let me double check. I think MCB also kind of a Malaysian bank, if I'm not mistaken. No, it's also Pakistani, MCB Bank, like Pakistani bank, so international. National Development Bank, NDB, it's a private bank, private local. Good luck, lazy guys, when you come to classification, අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම state sector banks දෙකයි තියෙනවා. State sector banks දෙකයි. ඒක තමයි අපි දාන්න ඒ කියන්නේ commercial banks NSB state හැබැයි ඒක license specialized නේ. එහෙනම් BOC peoples තමයි to state sector. Right? Hi. එහෙනම් National Development Bank belongs to private sector. Then guys, Nation Trust, NTB, Nation Trust Bank in the private sector. Pan Asia, it's also a local bank, private local bank. People's Bank State, Public Bank Berhad. Guys, I think Berhad is a Malaysian city if I'm not mistaken. Let me double check that. Yes. So it's a Malaysian. So it is a international bank. Can we write in front of that? International. Sampath Bank. Yes, it's a private sector local bank. Ceylon Bank also the same. And Standard Chartered. Standard Chartered, guys, it's a international bank. Standard Chartered කියන්නේ international bank එකක්. State Bank of India, again international. HSBC, Hong Kong and Shanghai Banking Corporation. That's the meaning of HSBC, again international. Union Bank එක කියන්නේ ලංකාවේ බැංකුවක්. එනම් මේක national, it's a local private sector bank. Right, can we also please complete the services provided by CBSL? As I explained, there are two types of services providing deposit related services, lending related services. Can we please complete that as well? Two services provided by CBSL, services related deposits and services related to loans. Right, so guys, with that, I'm going to wind up the today's session. So talk about the rest of the flow of the lesson. The next week we'll be starting the services provided by central banks, by the licensed commercial bank, started from the deposit related services. I think එතන deposits වර්ග තුනයි. ඒකෙන් අපි savings accounts සහ fixed deposits ගැන වැඩි detail කතා කරන්නේ නැහැ. Mainly we'll be highlighting the current accounts, the benefits, how do you open a current account, and the benefits to the businessman and the characteristics of a commercial bank. I think ඒක අපි highlight කළේ lending part එකට යනවා. I think මේ විදිහට ඊට පස්සේ අපි checks ගැන ගොඩක් කතා කරනවා, types of checks, check crossing, and how do you properly write a check. ඊට පස්සේ electronic cards ගැන, electronic cash, about the structure of credit card, debit card. I think we're gonna discuss. Right, so that's about it, guys. Thank you for joining, and we'll see you with the next session. Thanks.